Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Thank you to my subscribers and welcome to the new ones. I hope that what you see you like and you become part of this family by subscribing, by liking, by sharing, commenting. It's very important for the channel to grow. I thank you so much for all your beautiful comments and everybody in the groups that have been with me from the beginning. Thank you to all of you. Today I'm going to create this beautiful pattern. I have done this many years back in number 12. So it's very shiny, very small thread. It's 100% cotton. And I've decided to create it in number 4. And I'm going to do it in blue. It's turquoise, sky blue, if you want to call it. And this is going to be dedicated to my sister-in-law, Paula, that lives in Canada. And I decided to name this in her honor, as I mentioned a few videos back that I will be creating some pieces and dedicate to members of my family in their honor, and by missing them in something for them to always have on YouTube or remember me by with all my art creation. So this is to you, Paula. Much love, much hugs to you. Miss you very much, and thank you so much for being who you are. You're a fantastic woman, a great human being, and a good sister-in-law. And I couldn't appreciate you more. Thank you. So we are going to get started on this. I'm going to use number 4, 100% cotton, ladybug. This is Portuguese thread, and it's in Europe. But I'm sure you can find, if you're in the States or in Canada, you can find number 3 and Aunt Lydia, or you can go to Hobby Lobbies. They have a big selection of different colors and sizes of thread, and I'm sure you can find it there too. But I know that Walmart, for a fact, has number 3 in 100% cotton by Aunt Lydia. So, but they have in white and cream, or off-white, something like that. I'm not sure if they have in colors though. But you can use whatever yarn or whatever size you feel like. Just remember that the smaller the thread there in Canada and the US, if you're going by a smaller, a higher number of thread, let's say like a 12, it becomes thinner, which is the contrary here in Europe. The smaller the number, the thicker the thread or the yarn. Brazil is the same thing. The higher you go on the number, the thicker the yarn. Contrary to some countries, the higher you go on the number, the thinner they are. So just to let you know, I'm also going to use this one, which is number 4. So it's going to be like it's a good match. And Paula loves this color, so I had asked them to tell me their favorite colors. That's why I'm doing certain colors in their honor, in their name. And she wanted the sky blue. So sky blue, as you know, has different blues. So we're going to go with this one because she sent me a picture more or less of this color here. So we'll take it from that. So let's get started, everybody, and thank you again. And please don't forget to hit that notification bell to get new uploads. Needle number 3, and you will need a pair of scissors. Let's get started. Okay, everybody, so we have the 82 stitches that we've done. I actually like to always put 1 or 2 extra more in case some reason I missed my stitch and we're not short. I rather have it long because I can take it out by the end than to be short. So you could always add 2 or 3 more to that, and I'll show you at the end, if you have extra, how to take it out. Okay, so let's say we have 82 plus another 2 or 3 extra, doesn't matter. So now we're going to go up 1, 2, and 3. We're going to come back 4 space. 1, 2, 3, 4. On your 4th space, you're going to do a stitch. And we're going to have next space another stitch. Grab the back loops only so it doesn't stretch too much the pattern. Because when you do it on the center of these loops, it stretches the pattern too much. We don't want that. So now we're going to do 2 separation. and we're going to skip 2 loops here, and we're going to go on the 3rd loop. Okay, so 1, 1, 2. On your 3rd loop, we're going to make a square, and we're going to do that all the way to the end, and at the end we are going to make 4 more stitches, exactly as we did here. So nothing complicated, 2 separation, count 1, 2, on your 3rd back loop, make your square. So another thing I want to mention, I have no copyrights to any music, so if there's music on the background, it's just a relaxation meditation. So I have no copyrights to that, because YouTube can be funny about that. Anyway, so it's going to turn out to be like this. It's exactly the same thing as we have here, just show you as I go. So we're doing this one, and you see it's always going to be the same thing, no matter what, once we start these, right? So now we're doing this row here and until the end. So we're going to have 4 of them at the end, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so I did my squares, and I have a total of 25 squares. Okay, so not counting the 4, but 25 squares. Now, as you can see, I am going to have extra, and I don't mind. I prefer to have extra than to be short. So after your 25 squares, we're going to do the 4 stitches. Because you can take out when it's long, but you cannot, you can't do anything about it once it's short. I mean, you could always do something about it, but it's very complicated. It never turns out to be the same. Okay, so we're going to turn our work around, and I'm going to show you afterwards how we're going to take this out. So we go up 3, and it's always going to be the same thing, the 4 stitch on top of stitch on both ends. So what you do in one end, you're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. So now we're going to do stitch over stitch again until the end, because it's 2 rows of squares, not stitch over stitch, squares. And at the end we're going to have the 4 stitches, so 2 separation, and just go on top of your squares. So very simple, nothing to it. Now we're on our 2nd row here. Okay, so just follow it, and you're going to go to the end. Okay, so let me just show you how we are going to take out that stitch. If I can find my smaller needle. Okay, so we'd go here on the edge where we started the stitch, and we're just slowly, we're just going to pull it out slowly, because this is not a stitch that comes apart easily, because this is the beginning of the stitch. So we're just going to pull it and just undo it. So very simple, nothing to it, and it's just going to come out perfect like that. That's why I say it's always better to have it there. We've locked in, and it just stays a perfect stitch. So very simple, not hard. Meet you at the end. We've come to the end. We did our 2 stitch separation, and now we're going to do our 4 stitches on top of each other. Make sure you grab the corner stitch here at the end, right at the tip of the corner, so it can be a straight line. And it can be hard for some of us that have a very tight stitch, you know. Try to loosen it when I do the last stitch, if I can remember. So you go up 1, 2, and 3 already automatically. Turn your work and repeat the same thing. Now we're going to do the 4, and then we're going to be doing 2 squares, 1, 2, sure I get myself on camera. I keep forgetting about that. Still not used to this camera. It's all new to me. But eventually, I guess I'll get used to it. Okay, so now we have 2 stitches, and now we're doing this one here. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to cover 4 squares. Okay, so we're going to do 2 inside and over this one, and 2 inside and over this one, 2 inside. So we're covering 4 squares up. It's going to be easier to tell you this way. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1 more, 2 inside and 1 over. So we pretty much covered that. Now we're going to do 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to just go right over to this one here. Yep. Actually, we're going to do 4. We're going to do 4 stitch, sorry, so we can grab it by there. So instead of 3, it's 4. We're going to go right over to the next one, make a little square, and now we're going to cover again 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. So 2 inside, 1, 2, over the stitch, and then 2 inside again, and over the stitch, 2 inside again, and over the stitch. So we have 1, 2, 3. We need to do 1 more because it's 4 to make that square. 2 inside and 1 more. And now we're going to do 3 squares. 1, 2, separation. 1, 2, separation. And 1, 2, separation. And then we're going to cover now the same thing. Okay. So whatever you do on this side, we must do on this side. So now we're going to cover the 1, 2, 3. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to cover 4. So it's 2 inside. I'm going to cover 4 squares. 2 inside again. Over the stitch. Inside again. Over the stitch. Inside again. And over the stitch. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've covered 4. We're going to do 4 stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4 stitch. And we're going to come into the next one and cover the 4 squares again. 2 inside and 1 overlapping the stitch. 2 inside of the square and 1 overlapping the stitch. Two inside. This is such a simple and beautiful pattern. I created this many, many years ago, and it's funny how I see quite a bit of it going around, similar to it, going around YouTube. So I guess somebody had the same idea more or less when I did back then. This is like, oh my God, I think at least 15 years old, if not more. So we're going to do the 4 stitch. That means that we did 3 squares, and cover right at the edge here in the corners so the line can be straight. It's always harder for me. I have such a tight stitch and my needle is thick. So we're going to do it like that. Oh, did I cover it? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I didn't. Of course, it's not 3, it's 2. Sorry about that. I didn't cover 4 squares, I covered 3. That's not good. Thank God I looked before I went even further. Okay, so on the end, we're always going to have 2 squares and 4 stitches. Something to remember that. So you know that you're not making that mistake like I just did. Thank God it was an easy recovery. And it could have happened that I could have only noticed on the next row or a couple of more rows up. That's like torturing when you have to take it all down. But, you know, it does happen. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes, so it is what it is. Okay. So this is what it's turning out to be. So we're going to turn around. This is always going to stay the same no matter what. The 4 stitch, the 2 squares, and 2 separation, go over the square, 2 more separation over the square, and now we're going to do stitch, overlapping stitch, 2, 3. So here we have 1, 2, 3. So we're going to cover 3 squares. So that means that you're going to have, give me a second. So we covered 1, 2, okay, we have 1 more. So basically, I'm going to let you know how many stitches I have here. I think some of you go by the stitch. So let's say this one here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 stitch. So the top one will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 stitch. Now we do 1, 2, and 3, 4. So we're going to do that 4. We're going to come here in the middle and we're going to lock it in. And then we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3. On your 4th one, we're going to lock it in. So it's going to stay the same thing. And then do our 10 stitch. Okay, so whatever we do on this side, we're going to do on the other. We're going to do the squares in the middle. Nothing changes. It stays the same. The only thing that changes is only the center of these little squares here. Pretty much everything else stays the same. Okay. So it's going to be like that. 1, 2. And we come up 1, 2. And again. 1, 2. And again. So we're going to do the same thing here on here. So we're going to do 10. And then we're going to do the 4 stitch, 2 in the middle like here. And then 4 stitch again. And then the 10, and then the 2, and then the 4. So very, very simple. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we lock it in. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oops, 1, 2, 3 on your fourth one, which you know if you're right or wrong because you're overlapping, so it's going to be one empty square. And do your 10. Okay, so I'll meet you on the other side, up top, because it's just going to be repeat what we've done on this side. So nothing to it. So I've turned around, I've done my 4. Like I said, this is always the same thing. There's no point in me keep recording the same thing. It's just taking up memory on my phone. So we're going to just do like that because now we are on here. So you know you're going to have to, actually we are on here. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitch. So do your 7 and then your 4 stitch, and we're going to lock in the loop. So we did our 7 stitch, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to lock it in our loop here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to lock it in. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to count 1, 2, 3 on your fourth one. We're going to do our 7 stitch, and it's going to be repeatedly the same way on the other side at the end of this row. So nothing to it. So you have your 7 stitch, and this is what it's starting to look like. So now you're going to do your 3 squares. You're going to do your 7, your 4 stitch, lock it in. So whatever you did here now, you got to do it on the other side. I'll meet you at the end, up top, over here. I'll meet you here up top. So we finished our row on this side. We've turned around, we've came up. Now we're going to do only 4 stitches because this is the middle piece of this square. So 4 stitch, which is 1 block. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we go over, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. Over again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And over again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we are going to do 1, 2, 3 on your fourth one. We're going to do our 4 stitch. So this is the middle of the first square, and then continue with your regular squares here. And we're going to repeat the same thing on the next square. So 4 stitch, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and repeat it all. Okay, so basically this is what it is. And we are here in the middle. Now we're going to start cutting down on the next row. So finish up your row, and I'll meet you on the other side. So we've turned around, we did our 4, we did our 2 squares. We're going to do our 4 stitch on top of here. We're going to do 2 stitch in here, and 1 more. So I'm going to lock it in on the edge here, like that. So you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So basically you're repeating the same 7 as on here. And then you continue 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're gonna do the, you can just go right in all 3 stitches if you want. 1, 2, and 3. And then overlap the stitch. And then continue on. So we're going to have a total of 7 stitches. Like that. And we're going to repeat the same thing on here. So do your square, then repeat the same. I'll meet you on the other side. So we've turned around, we did the 4, we did the 2 squares. Now we're just going on top of these ones here. And we are going to fill on top of each stitch on the bottom. Because now we are doing this one here. So basically we're gonna go on top of the stitch and then 3 more inside the loop. So I'll let you know we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, which is the 3 inside of the stitch, which becomes the same thing as we had on here. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and repeat the same thing. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and again 1, 2. Oh no, sorry. Let's continue to do the loops. That's not right. Okay, so now we're going to do the 3 stitch in here. We're going to have a total of 10 stitches. So the 3 stitch in there, go over the loops and cover all of them and continue on the row, the same thing on the other side as we're just finishing to do here on this one. So very simple, nothing to it, my friends. I mean, it doesn't take rock science to do this. It's a very simple pattern, but it's very, very nice when you bring it down. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. Repeat the same thing on the other side. I'll meet you up top. Okay, everybody, so I've turned around. I've done my 4, I've done my 2, and then 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So now we're going to do the last little square here, which is the same one as down here. And we're only going to do the 2 stitch. And then we're going to come and do the 3 over here. And cover up all these stitches. So the next 3 rows is going to be only squares. Like that. So 2 stitches on here, which will be the same thing as the ones down here. And that will give you the 1 square there. We're going to repeat this on the other side. And now the next 3 rows is only squares. I'll meet you at the end up top. So we finished our last row. We've turned around. We did our 4. Now we did our 2 squares. Now we're going to do the 25 squares all together. So 1, 2, and you count 1, 2 on your third one, and then 1, 2, and then 1, 2 on your third one, 1, 2, 1, 2 on your third one, 1, 2, 1, 2 on your third one, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 on your third one, 1, 2 separation, 1, 2 on your third one. So we're going to keep doing that until we have 25 squares all the way to the end, and then the 4 at the end. Okay, so I've turned around. I did all my squares. Come to the end, you do your 4. And we're going to do 2 more rows like this. It's a total of 3. So you're just going to overlap all the other squares. So it's going to be the same thing as here. 2 separation and your squares. 2 separation and your squares all the way to the end, nothing to it, and repeat. Now, once we get to the end, what we're going to do is we're going to repeat the same thing. So we're starting the other square. We're going to repeat the same thing as we have here. So we're going to cover 4 squares with stitches, and then the next one we're going to cover 3 squares, and the next one 2 squares, and then 1. So we're going to repeat the same thing. Either you go back to the video and you follow it, or you just copy by what you've already created. That's one way to do it. So I'll meet you at the end just to give it the start, and then you're on your own. You can make it as long as you want or as short as you want. You can make it with 2 motives only or 3, depending upon the size you want. I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so we've done the 3 rows of square. We've turned around. Now we're going to fill in the 4 square with stitches, exactly like down here. So I already started. So 2 inside. So 1, 2, 3. 1 more. 1, 2. And we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to do the 4 squares again. So it's repeatedly what we did on the beginning. Same thing, nothing changes. So 2 inside and 1 overlapping the beneath stitch. Like that. So it's going to be the same thing as this one here. Now you're going to continue doing your 3 stitch square. 1, 2 squares, 2 separation, and your 3rd square. And now you fill in the same thing again, like we have on here. So Not hard to follow. Just repeat the same thing. So my people, you're on your own. Basically, either you go back, rewind, and redo, follow as the video, or just look into your pattern and continue on. It's always good to advance a bit the video to see if where I'm at or if I've changed anything, because sometimes I'll have certain ideas and I make little changes here and there. It's rare, but it can happen. So it's always good to let it play the video a bit or watch it a bit and then go back and then start your pattern to see if there's a couple of changes that I will make. So let's do this. I don't know how long I'm going to do this, but it's not going to be too small. It's not going to be huge either, but a good fair amount of size. Another thing I wanted to mention, if you're making it in thinner thread, this would be perfect for bedroom, for couple bedroom. You can make in baby blue for baby boy's room, pink, baby pink for a little girl's room in a thinner thread. So you can use size 10, let's say Aunt Lydia, or any other brand that you grab on size 10. It would be perfect for this to make sets for the bedroom, because I have done sets for the bedroom and it's just outstanding. Okay, just a little advice, little hint, little whatever. Sometimes you want to give it as gifts or for your grandchildren or somebody that born into the family, or a friend had a baby or something and you want to create or give them something nice. Well, this is a perfect thing to make for them and give them as gifts, or even as for Christmas gifts, a nice set for the bedroom, things like that. I'm making a table runner, so, but you can leave it as is for a bedroom set. I'll see you then. Okay, everybody, so I decided to leave it as a square. What I'm going to do is this table runner is going to take like 3 or 4 squares this size, which is 3 motifs that I've done. As you can see here, I've cut my yarn and I've already fixed it, put it away. Did the corners the same thing. I grabbed the multicolored yellow. I want it to be different, so I'm not going to do exactly as here. This is a complete different pattern. That's why I said earlier, it's always best to check with me, advance the video to see if I do any alterations, anything different. So what I'm doing is I'm doing 2 stitch inside of each square. And when it comes to the sides, I'm doing 2 stitch with 1 separation, grabbing 1 stitch on the side. So very easy. 1 separation, 1 separation, and another one on the same square, 1 separation. So we're going to do that all the way around because I'm creating flowers inside of it. So this is like the middle piece of the flower. So very easy, just 2 per each. And I'll get to the corner and I'll show you the corner. So we've come to the end here, so you'd give 1 separation and then you'd build your 2 on the same place. 1 separation, let me just check this corner, and then build 2 on the same place. One separation. Now grab this whole corner here and build 2 in the same place. 1 separation and go into your next one around the corner, and always 2 on the same place. Next one. So nothing to it, it's all the same thing all the way around. Like that. Get your close up. This is what it's going to look like. It's It's going to look funny this way because there's a lot of yellow very close, but you'll understand why I'm doing it this way once I show you what I've done with the flower, because I got a head start on it to see how it would turn out to be. And I liked it, so. And that's usually how I create my stuff. I go along and then I have things in my head and I pretty much design from there. So you're going to do that all the way around, okay, like that, which is the side we're doing here now. We just started the same side. So we have 3 of these, and you finish only with 2 because we started only with 2 squares, 2 rows of square. So you finish 2 rows of square. Cut your thread. Okay, so this is my flower. This is what my flower looks like. It's got 6 petals, and I'm going to do that all the way around. Once I finish with the yellow, I will be doing my flower all the way around. Now, I'm going to do 3 or 4 squares like this with 3 motifs on it. And I am going to attach it here, diagonal on the corner. You'll see as the beginning of the pictures, once I finish and I post up the pictures, you'll see what I'm talking about. So it's going to be long enough, and it's going to be very nice once it's finished. So as far as the petals go, the flower goes, this is the multicolored blue. Since it's all about sky, sometimes the sky turns yellow, right? Okay, so let's say you're starting in the corner like I did. Okay, so you'd be, so let's say this is the corner. Let me get you a close-up. Never mind this. Let's say this is the corner. 1 stitch in and 1 stitch. Which actually I already had a stitch there. Okay. So you'd lock in, small stitch, and you give 1 stitch. And then you do 2 regular stitches. You turn twice, and you do 2 long stitch. So it's double stitch, I think you guys call it. I'm not sure. So turn twice, and you do 2 of them. Then you come back, and you do 2 more regulars. And then you give 1 stitch and you lock in like that. It's going to give you this little paddle like this. Then you go right in the middle into the next space. Lock it in, 1 stitch, 2 regular stitches, same thing. It's repeatedly the same thing. And then 2 double stitch. And then 2 regular. And then 1 stitch and lock it in. So we got 2 petals. Go into your next one, lock in 1 stitch, 2 regular stitches, and 2 double. And then 2 regular, one stitch, and lock it in. So now we have 3 petals. going to the next one. We're going to do 6. So do your 6 petals, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so now we've done the 6 petals, as you can see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stretch your yarn a bit, your thread. Come here on the first one that we did, that we started the petal, and we're going to close it in like that. Give it 1 stitch and come right over here and do 2 small stitches inside. We're going to skip 2 squares, so 1, 2 stitches inside. So now we have 2 squares skipped. Now we start our petal again. This is what it's going to look like once, of course, we fix it. And just make sure that I have it right. 2, 3. No, we skipped 3, sorry. So we got to skip, okay, so we got to skip this one too. Okay, so we skipped 3. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3 on your next one. So do 2 more in here. So on your third one here, we're going to skip 1, 2, and 3. Now we go up, we locked in, we go up 1 stitch, and then we start a new petal again. 2 regular stitches, 2 double, like that, and 2 regular again, and then 1 stitch, and we lock in. Go to your next one and restart your petal. 2 regular, 2 double, and 2 regular. 1 stitch and lock it in. So now we got the 2 petals. This is how it's gonna look like. We're gonna do that all the way around until here. So it's gonna be all squared out. So do your 6 petals on each little loop in here. And then we're going to close it up again. I'll show you again once we do the 6 petals again. So 2 regular stitch, 2 double stitch, and 2 regular stitch again. So we did, let me see, 2 regular, 2 double, 2 more regular, 2 regular, 1 stitch, and lock in. So now we have 3 petals. I know it looks funny like that, but this is what's going to give it the turning point for the flower. Go in your next space and restart again. So we're going to do that 6 times, 6 petals, and then I'll meet you to attach it. Okay, so we've done the 6 petals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as you can see on each little loop here. Stretch it a bit, come and grab the first one here. Now, if you guys didn't want to do it like I did, a triangle, you can just go ahead and make it as long as you want and turn it into a pattern itself, like I have here. I wanted something different. So I changed my mind to have it different. So now we'd go 1, 2, 1, 2, and we're going to skip 3 space. So we have 1, 2, 3, and now we start our petals all over again. So do that all the way around. And I guess I'll see you at the corner once I finish with my yellow. Do your yellow too, to see how it's going to end up on the corner here. 2 regular and 2 regular here. So I started my first petal. Now you'd go into the next space and start the petal again. So this is going to turn out really, really beautifully like that. You see it, really nice. Now, like I said, if you want to continue this pattern like this, then it's fine. Then you would just close it up either in squares or just one row after your squares, your 2 squares, you can make regular stitch to close it up like normal regular stitch. Or you can follow me and do exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to finish my yellow, and then I'm going to continue on my petals until the corner here to see how, if it fits fine or not, or do we have to maneuver something. Okay, so I'll meet you in a little bit. So it's the same thing with the yellow one. We came to the corner and you do the 2 inside, 1 separation for each stitch, and then again 1, 2, 1 separation, 1, 2, 1 separation, and then continue doing your 2 again, like that. Meet you at the end. So we've come to the end of the yellow. Just want to show you here. Okay, so we're pretty much at the corner there. Get this thread out of the way. And we're just going to lock it in, the yellow one there. Whoop, that didn't come out good. Try that again. Like that. Cut your yarn, your thread, whatever you're using. And we can go through the loops because we're going to hide it with the flower. Just like that. So very simple, nothing complicated, just have to pay attention, like every other pattern. Okay. So now we continue on with the flowers. Okay, you guys, so I've pretty much did the whole corner and some more, and it was pulling, so I had to take it down at least 5 or 6 times just to get it right. So once you've locked in your last one here, because this is the stitch before the corner, put a small stitch inside, give it 3 stitches, a small stitch right on the corner one to make sure that it's not going to pull too much. Even if you have to give another stitch, give it 4 stitch to make sure, because I don't want it to be pulling. Okay, we're only going to skip, 1 So we're going to do 2 stitch in here like that. This is the side. It almost looks like it's like the corner, but it really isn't. It's the right after corner one. So we're going to skip 1, and we're going to do 2 stitch in here on your second one. I think it should be okay, I hope. We're going to put 2 stitches in here just to make sure. So just to get you a close-up. So once we finish the before corner one, we've mended them together. We put a small stitch right after in the same place. We did 4 small stitches right on the corner one, and then 2 on this one. So we're going to skip 1, 2. On the third one, we're going to put 2 stitches in, and we're going to start creating our paddle in here. See how that works out. It's been like 5 or 6 times I've taken it down already, and I had to delete the video and re-record until I get it right, you know. It's the only way, or else I won't have it any other way. Either I do it properly or I don't. I have to be happy with it. If I'm not happy with it, then I'm taking it down. That's, you know, that's just what it is. Yeah, it's okay. So we created 1 paddle. And now we go on to create the other ones, the 6. And let's see how it turns out. It seems like it came out pretty good. Now I have to do just a few more small stitches so it can line up. So instead of having 7 flowers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we're going to have 8 instead of 7, so it doesn't pull too much. Now I've locked in a small stitch already in here. Okay, so we did the 1 small stitch inside after we locked in our corner flower. We did 2 stitches in the next space, 2 stitches in the next space. Now on your third space, we're going to start creating. So we're only going to skip 2. On the third one, we're going to start creating, because the straight pattern, they're larger here, the squares, than what they are on the sides, because the sides is just stitch, right? So these are bigger, or else it's not gonna, we're not gonna have enough flowers up top. So we got to create a few more. So we're gonna skip 2 spaces, and we're gonna start creating from here. Okay, I had to take it down again, you know, creating this new pattern, and sometimes it takes a few shots before you can get it right. So I prefer to be taking it down and make sure that we have it properly. Okay, so we're going to just skip the 2 spaces and do on the third one and start our paddles again. I'll be back after I'm done with this one. Just get you a little bit closer. So I've locked in. I think it's starting to look a little bit better. I did a small stitch right after, and 2 small ones on the next space, and 2 more on the next one. And now we are going to create the petals on the third one, because I don't want it to be pulling. It seemed that it was pulling quite a bit, and these squares here are very much larger than the side stitches, so we really have to have them in here to make it. Even if there's more flowers, that's fine, that's okay, as long as it's not pulling. So we're going to do it from here. It seems to be fine for now. I'll see as I'm going. If it's not, then I'm going to have to take it down again and re-record again. So hopefully, crossing fingers, it will be okay, I hope. So to get it straight, because I don't want it to be pulling. And I think it should be good. So we're just going to continue and take it from there. Hopefully it's going to be fine. So this corner one happened to land right on the corner, which is perfect and just works out for us that way. So this is pretty much coming together on this side too, and this side. It's coming out pretty nice. It'll be nice once we're finished with it. So we're going to continue on doing it and skipping by twos, and should be able to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 all around, including the corner ones. I'll meet you at the end. Okay, everybody, so basically what I did was the first square, as you know, and I told you I would be doing like 2 or 3 more squares. So I ended up doing 2 more squares, and I put the middle different colors. So I did this one and this color, as you can see, and did all the flowering around it. And as you can see on this one, I did the green leaves outside of the flowers, which I'll show you once I do it on the other patterns. I just wanted to show you what it looks like once it's done, the squares. Okay, now with this square, what I did was I attached it to the corner here. If I show you, and I'll be showing you with the other one once I finish the flowers. So basically it's going to stay like a triangle, as a triangle table runner. And the blue part will be in the center, and I'm making the other one, as you can see. And I will be attaching it to the other end of the triangle of the blue one. And so in the middle of this one, I did a pink. You know, she wanted sky blue, so sometimes the sky is blue and yellowish and white and so on. So that's what I did. Of course, the sky doesn't have green, but it is a table runner. It's not a sky. So that's why I ended up doing the green leaves on it. And so I just pretty much attached the end of this one together at the end of on the other corner of this one, as I was doing the blue with the flowers. So I attached it on there, which I'm probably gonna give it another stitch to make sure it's secure. So this is what it's gonna look like, just to give you an idea. And I'm just gonna finish up with the other yellow one. I'm still on the flowers, and once I finish the flowers, then we'll do the green. Then I'll show you once actually I get to the other corner here, I will show you how I'm going to attach it on there, and then I'll show you the green leaves. And that's, I don't know yet if I'm going to put green leaves, the big ones, here in the middle of the triangles. I'm going to figure it out, and if I like it, then I'll show you how we're going to do it. And if not, then I'm just going to leave it as is. So I'll see you soon. Okay, everybody, so we're in the corner now, and I have one petal done already because that's the way it fell into. It doesn't really matter if you have a petal there or not. You work with the pattern. And okay, before I even go any further on here, so now I'm going to grab the corner of this one here. See if I can bring a little bit more of a close-up. So I'm going to go straight in the corner here, and I'm going to grab the blue part anywhere. Could be here in the middle of the green petal if you have put the green leaves in. If not, then you can just do it either way. And now that I should have done this on the other one, locked it up like twice to make sure that it's well protected, but I didn't. So I'm gonna stitch it in. So I'm gonna lock it in twice. Like this, we are sure that it's not gonna go anywhere. So we have one petal there, and then now we continue to do the next petal, and it all comes in together. It doesn't matter about the green leaves that we do this pattern here, the green leaves at the end. It makes no difference. Doesn't change anything on the pattern with the green leaves. So we should be okay. Let me see, I have two, one more. And go on to the next one and create the other petal or a flower, petal of the flower, whatever you want to call it. So not necessarily that all the corners are going to fall into the same place. You got to work with the pattern. Don't stress about it. Another thing I wanted to mention is when you're doing the preparation, the pink one or whatever yellow one that you're doing of this to create your metal piece for the flower, if you need to create, like some places I have 3 inside, especially up top of the pattern, I have 3 and then I put 2 and then I put 3. If you need, so it doesn't tighten up too much. So, you don't, when you need to stretch it, it's not gonna like crample up too much. So, depending upon your stitch, of course, because I made these squares a little bit more larger. For some reason, my stitch, I guess today is a little bit larger. So I put 3 and 2 and 3 and 2, but not everywhere. Some places I only have 2, so don't stress about it. This is just to create these, the middle, let's say flower growing or something, Okay, so I'll meet you at the end. Okay, everybody, so we pretty much finished doing all the flowering all around. And now we're going to do the little leaves around it. So you can grab any corner you want. And you basically would go where the blue is and tie it in. And then you do 5 stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you just go to the next loop next to it. And then do 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's no random count for this. You do where you think it needs to be filled. So I did on the same one, as you can see. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can go to the next one like that. And then you do small stitch just to have that greenery going around. So nothing to it, very simple. Grab the one here and then the next one over here. We're doing in between the flowers, the leaves. Next stitch, next one. There's no specific count, so you look more or less where the middle is, and you have to start a little bit before to do your 5 stitch. And then you can go in the same one. Space is smaller, so you don't need to skip. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then you go in the same one again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you can do the next one. Close it up on the next one. So it's going to come out like that. Gives it a little cute decoration around it. And then you just do small stitches again until the next space. So nothing to it. Just do that all the way around. And I'll be back with you to see if I am going to create in between the spaces here where they attach. Maybe I'm going to do a bigger flower with some leaves. Meet you in a bit. Okay, everybody, so I pretty much decided to leave it at that, just in the 3 triangles. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I did. It's another one of my creations, of my designs. I usually create them as I go. And of course, a lot of times I have to take it down and restart again. But that's okay, because at the end result, you got this beautiful pattern going on. And it's unique. It's your creation, your design. So it makes it pretty exciting. So I thank every single one of you. And for the newcomers, I hope you like what you saw. I hope you created. And if you do, mention it, And please do share, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell notification for new uploads. I also want to say, like I mentioned before, this is a dedication to my sister-in-law, Paula, that lives in Montreal, Canada. So, Paula, this is in your name, in your honor. Thank you for being you. I miss you guys a lot. Much love, much hugs to you and the whole family, and hopefully we'll see each other soon. So thank you, everybody, and God bless. Please stay safe until the next tutorial. Thank you. Bye-bye.